Hello and welcome to FBR's November State of the Server address. If you're unfamiliar with the concept, it's essentially a quick rundown of some of last month's events, the current issues that we're facing, and some of our plans for the future. If you'd like to join me in upcoming State of the Server addresses, feel free to check out our Patreon page. The link should be down in the description. As for today's agenda, we're going to be covering some of last month's events, including some more fun times with the Code Fred attacks, some updates to Star Control, and the kicks due to inactivity issue. We're going to be covering current events, including Starry Pi 3K for getting changes, and we're going to move into some plans for the future, including Discord, overhauling the forums, and a temporary schedule change for the state of the server. So, let's get right into it with some of the Code Fred developments. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Code Fred, it's essentially a denial of service vulnerability affecting all recent versions of Starbound, and perhaps more. It's been tested against everything from Glad Giraffe to the current Nightly, and everything appears vulnerable. It was discovered on the 21st of August when it was used against FBR, and it was reported on the 25th of August to Chucklefish. But the most important thing about Code Fred is that it has yet to be patched. Now, as for this month's events, there have not really been any. It's more been a lack of events that's the problem. There's been no communication from Chucklefish. Since that initial report, I received a thank you, and that was it. And this is including saying, hey, we've been under a constant attack for over a month that would have overwhelmed the server 9 times a day if it weren't for our firewall rules, and even going as far as saying that I have intent to disclose this vulnerability. There has been no response. So, it looks like we may be disclosing the Code Fred vulnerability. I'm sure some people may think that this is a bad idea, but I've given it quite a bit of thought, and this seems to be the best course of action. I'm aiming for a coordinated disclosure on the 25th of November, and this will be with most of the large players in the Starbound multiplayer community, and a week or two afterwards it will be a full disclosure. So that's going to be that should be interesting. Moving on, we have some obligatory updates to Star Control. If you're unfamiliar with it, Star Control is a good 3,000 lines of shell scripting that keeps FBR running. As for what's been changed, I finally finished the status page. I know some of you have been waiting for this for quite a while, and I'm very sorry that it took so long, but it's finally done, and I think it looks pretty great too. I've also added configuration templating for Starry Pi 3K because it's a complete bear to work with otherwise. I've added automated species whitelist creation because that's something that always gets forgotten. And there's tons of small bug fixes and additions and small stuff, like adding a super pretty new message format and fixing a bunch of bugs and that sort of thing. If you want to go over the whole list of what I've done, feel free to check out the Trello page. The link should be down below. And moving on to the kicks due to inactivity issue. This, I'm sure this got quite annoying for some people, but it looks to be finally fixed. And this is thanks to ghoulish links on the forums. They approached Aerodem and myself, and they had found an old solution for this issue, back from, I think, Glad Giraffe maybe, perhaps older. So it was outdated, and the people who initially came up with it seemed to have misinterpreted quite a lot of it, but it was enough. We were able to increase the timeout by making a mod to change the configuration values, because apparently packed assets are a great place to store configuration values for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. So, some of the current events. There's StarryPie 3K for getting changes. If you're unfamiliar with it, StarryPie 3K is our server wrapper. It's the thing that gives us all those nice commands and planet protection, all that good stuff. Now the issue is if you've suddenly been removed from a planet's claim list, or you had your player deleted and then suddenly it existed again, this is the issue. Essentially the database resets every time the server crashes, which this is Starbound we're talking about, so that's very often. It is a known bug. There's a link to the bug in the description on GitHub. I've done a lot of tinkering recently, and it kind of looks like it's impossible to actually fix this without doing a massive database overhaul, just due to how the core storage mechanics of StarryPie 3K are written. So there's not much I can do about it, unless we fix it by stopping the crashes that are causing it to get reset. Over the last few days, I've found that the majority of these crashes actually have a very small window to stop the crash. 60 seconds should be enough, probably, hopefully. We'll find out. So, moving on, we've got the plans for the future. There's the obligatory updates to Star Control, including a rather large one. I've been working on a brand new automated defense system for the server. It's quite advanced. I'm quite proud of it, and I also can't really talk about it because that would defeat the purpose of everything. So, yeah. We've also got plans for a Discord server. Not entirely sure how well this will work out, but we're planning to set up a server and install a chat bridge in StarryPie 3K so that the chat will be mirrored between the server and the Discord channel. Should be pretty great if it works out. I'm also planning on overhauling the forums because our current stuff is kind of bad. I know I said that I would be trying to tackle this over October, but given all of the fun stuff with Code Fred, it seemed that working on the defense systems would be more important for now. Now that that's being wrapped up, however, I can finally get to working on the forums. So if there's anything you'd like to see in the new forums, or if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know. Drop a message or something. I'd love to hear it. And last but not least, December's State of the Server address will be on a different day, because I'll be in Chicago at MFF, and I probably won't be in a good condition to give the State of the Server address, so we're looking for the second Friday instead of the first. Con crud permitting, I'll send out an email to confirm that date. And since no one else was able to make it today, we'll just skip the open discussion and wrap it up. I hope you found this at least mildly informative. Hope to see you on the server, and until next time.